Hey, it's Gabrielle Nicolay from Complicated Kids, and I am joined today by Michelle Tresemer. Michelle, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Yay. Tell the good folks what you do for a living. And I will preface this by saying you and I met in a business coaching group. And so I don't even know if we overlapped there, but we kind of caught each other coming and going. But tell the good folks what you do for a living and sort of professionally where you're at here.
Sure. My full-time job, my day job, so to speak, I run a marketing consultancy. Basically, I mentor one-person marketing departments. I don't know if you can get more simple than that.
Wow, I know. I was like, oh my God, totally.
Yeah, so that's my day job, my full-time. But because of ADHD, I like to play in a lot of different areas. And I worked with a coach a few years ago who said, I need to get away from the computer. Go outside. So I also have a dog photography business kind of on the side. So I do action dog photography.
Oh my God, so cool. And I'm so glad that you brought it up, because part of the reason we're here is not because of your vast marketing ability or your dog photography skills, which are amazing, but partly I think the reason you're so good at both of those is because you self-identify as having ADHD.
Yes, I was late diagnosed.
Okay.
So, I mean, everybody knows when COVID hit, TikTok became a thing. And I did the kind of doom scrolling, and I happened upon a whole bunch of people talking about ADHD. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I thought something was very wrong with me my entire life. Like, I may tear up. Like, it was such a struggle to do things that came easily for everyone else. I thought, oh, I'm just an introvert. I made up so many excuses. And then I did the full neuropsych testing, like the full day of it. And lo and behold, 100% ADHD. Like, okay.
And so you are an adult.
Yes.
How did having that neuropsych and the subsequent diagnosis either change, not change? What happened as a result for you having that diagnosis?
Gosh. I mean, it was a game changer for me. Like I said, I thought something was so wrong. And I was just used to being the weird one or the oddball in my entire life. You know, I was brilliant in certain areas, and then I really struggled on the social aspect of things. And girls, you know, especially girls, we are not diagnosed because we mask. We sit when we're told, we're quiet because that's what good little girls are supposed to do. I did all those things. So it just went unnoticed. And then I got the diagnosis. Like,
it's interesting to me because for sure girls are socialized, right? Sit down, stay quiet, sit pretty.
Yes.
And then there's also, because you alluded to this too, which is like, I felt like there was something wrong with me. There were things you could do well and things that you couldn't do well. And that was surprising because somehow, girls especially, but I think children in general, if we have good behavior, then we must automatically be good, capital G, at everything.
100%.
That's the myth, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I got good grades. I was in student council. I did all of the things.
How hard were you working? Junior year, senior year, freshman year, whatever, pick a year. How hard did you have to work in order to do all of that?
Interestingly, it was easy for me. Like, I thought school was super easy, but it was because I have a comorbidity with social anxiety. So for me, the thought of a teacher calling me out in front of the class because my homework was late, like, oh no, that was untenable. Like, there's no way I would ever let that happen. So I was always just very on top of things. So it was easy because I was kind of used to it. So I guess I lucked out in the huge anxiety.
Right. Well, what's interesting to me about that as a professional, and first of all, my mind is blown. Thank you again for coming on, because I think this is, number one, a discussion that's really going to help a lot of parents who are in right now questioning, like, should I have a neuropsych for my 7 or 8-year-old? Should I, or even 14-year-old or 15-year-old, right? Like, should I should I even tell my child that I think that they might have a kind of neurodivergent brain? Actually, and so let me ask you that. Should parents give their children neuropsychs early on if they suspect something?
So when I suspected me, I had my entire family get tested. So my husband got tested. He has ADHD. Both kids who are now 13 and 16, and it was like 3 years ago I got them tested, both ADHD. My husband and I sat and we looked at the reports and we debated for a while. Like, we don't want the kids to think something's wrong with them, but we went the total other way. We talked to them about what it means to be neurodivergent. And it took a lot of research on my part primarily, but now we joke about it and we don't really call it a superpower very often, but in some ways it absolutely is because our brains are creative in different ways. But for example, ADHD, you leave stuff out all the time and you just don't see it. So when we do that, we joke and we say, oh, ADHD strikes again. And no one's ever mad at each other. We don't, for a marriage, if anybody has an ADHD husband, sometimes you think, did he really forget to put the dishes in the dishwasher? Like, is he trying to tell me something? Is this a dig at me? But once we all got diagnosed, it's like, oh my gosh, this was not intentional. There was no meanness behind this. It was just ADHD.
That is so interesting because, and I have written about this and talked about this. My husband leaves receipts places, like all places, all the places,
all over the place.
And it took me like 20 whatever years to be like, this is just what he does. He forgets on the way from walking in the door and like depositing things to the trash can. That's somehow like doesn't register. And it says nothing about me. And you're totally right about this notion that like we make it mean all kinds of things that it simply does not mean.
Yes, 100%. Oh my goodness, it has saved us so many arguments just understanding why we're doing this.
It's so interesting what you said about like if somebody leaves something out, because there is a flip side to there's another response that you could choose, which is like, I have ADHD, you, my child, also have ADHD, and I need to teach you how to be organized, and I stay organized so that I can be on the rails, and you need to too. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's super interesting. All four of us have ADHD. It manifests a little differently in all of us. So the techniques that may work for me don't work for my kids. Case in point, closet doors. My husband and I closet doors. I know it sounds like a bizarre thing. Let me back it up by saying, for all the ADHD people I know, the difference between something being put where it should be, put back, and it being left out is as simple as a drawer or a cabinet. Like it is oh my gosh, our executive functioning, like it is really sensitive. So
say more about that because I don't quite understand what you're talking about yet.
Oh yeah,
but we will. Yeah.
Yes. So for most ADHD people, I would say, just based on my research, doors are horrible, cabinet doors, because we have
closed.
Yes, we have object permanence.
Yeah.
So if we can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Got it.
When we realized this, we went to our refrigerator and we stopped using the vegetable drawers. That's where our budget went to die.
I have goosebumps. I have never heard this. We talk about hacks all the time over at Raising Orchid Kids, which is our parenting classes for parents who are raising orchid kids, many of whom have ADHD.
Yeah.
So you just like took the drawers out.
Don't use them. Like we are not allowed to use those drawers.
Because?
Object permanence. If we can't see the item all the time, like we can't see it, it doesn't exist. So we'll end up buying, we used to buy a bunch of red peppers to cut up for snacks. And then we would forget that we had them and buy more red peppers. And then before you know it, we have 16 freaking red peppers. And then they're going bad. And it's like, oh, okay, those things are expensive. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
So we don't use those. I got a refrigerator downstairs. The freezer's on the bottom. Because when the fridge is on the top, I can't or the fridge
When the
is on the
freezer's on
bottom.
top. Mhm.
Yeah, I can't see all of the things in there. So it just goes bad. It's little stuff like that. So with the kids, they were not putting their clothes away. They weren't putting their clothes away. It was driving me nuts. I took the closet doors off and got this really nice open shelving. Nathan James, love their shelves. They're totally cost effective. Their rooms are beautiful. Like I have not once had to ask either child to pick up their room since I made that move.
You are making so many people's lives better right now. Thank you.
Oh, I have a whole list of hacks. Like I'm trying to document this stuff because
as well you should. Yeah. And listen, so what's so interesting to me about this, number one is like, of course, the hacks are going to help people, but there's a level of self-acceptance that has to happen before you're willing to take closet doors off and think that that's a really excellent idea that's going to help you. Because the default, and this is back to like you need to stay organized, right? The default is like closet doors are there, they exist. That's what normal people use. And you should too. Like there's many people who are walking around thinking that
100%.
about themselves and other people.
Yes. If I had any advice to give anybody, I think the hardest piece is that step one, identifying what the trigger is. And it's harder than you might think to figure out what it is. I was noticing with my daughter, she would get really grumpy some days. Mm. And I would watch her carefully and she would be like messing with her collar. It turns out that particular jacket had a tag that was driving her nuts, which was totally triggering her mood. I'm telling you, it's little stuff and you have to try different things. For me, I take notes because I spend a small fortune on fancy pens. Nice. That gives me the dopamine to do notes, to keep my office tidy. I mean, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is so interesting. So one of the things we talk about in our classes is the ABCs of behavior, which is like, what's the antecedent? What's the trigger for what you're seeing? Because we can deal consequences all day long and sticker charts and like whatever, take the phone away. And that is not having anywhere near as much efficacy or success as looking upstream to understand that it's the tag. Just cut the tag out or get a different coat. You have solved the problem. Like it's not more complicated than that.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, it's really so. Oh my God, I'm all in on here. So it's like, no, but listen, this level of, again, I'm coming back to the level of self-acceptance. Like this is how my brain works. And these are the things that will help me. Right?
Yes.
Like that's the game. That's literally the game.
Yes. For any parents out there, if you can help your kids at a young age, just identify and learn these things, they'll be light years ahead. I mean, I just learned it a couple years ago, and this might be TMI, but ADHD people have TMI all the time, right? Because we don't have a social filter. Yeah. I have spent the past 3 years trying to find a bra that didn't make me hate myself.
Yes.
The wire, the stitching, like whatever. And I finally found one and I wrote them the biggest thank you note ever, because that was the thing preventing me from getting dressed every day.
Yep.
To look professional. Like that was hurting my business.
That is so interesting. Right?
It's nuts how far it's one little tiny thing.
Yeah. And one sequence. And we talk about chains all the time. Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like this results to this and this connects to this. God, tell me another hack. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I have a whole list. I prepped a whole list. I've been documenting.
Let's do it.
Some more?
Really? Do you have some more? Yes, absolutely.
Oh, boy, do I. Okay, comfortable bra if you have girls or if you're a woman. You're gonna love this one. Toilet paper roll holders.
Okay, say more.
Okay, so if you go into your bathroom or your kid's bathroom and they have the little insert for the toilet paper roll and it's sitting on top of the counter, or it's on the roll empty and then the new roll is sitting on top.
Guilty.
Yes. Okay. So for us, we went on Amazon and got this $5 3M stick on the wall roll where you don't have to do the little squeezy thing, the spring. Okay. It doesn't have a spring. It just pops right on there. Totally fixed our toilet paper roll problem.
Okay.
I know it sounds weird.
No, it doesn't sound weird. It sounds like you're looking at what's not working and
Yes.
going upstream to find a solution. That's all we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Some of these solutions cost, yes, some of them cost a lot of money, and some of them cost just a little bit of money, and some of them only cost you a little bit of time up front to save a lot of time later.
I use my screwdriver a lot because I'm always taking cabinets off of things. So I do keep that screwdriver handy. It's bizarre. Indoor shoes have been a game changer. Some people are wired like me, where as soon as my shoes come off for the day, my brain also shuts off, gets out of work mode. So I have indoor tennis shoes. I wear really comfortable like running shoes in the house. Keeps me productive way longer and way more focused.
Yep.
Speaking of business things or travel, my husband and I talked about this right before we got married because we both love to travel. We will do the early morning flights. Any of my meetings have to take place in the morning. If I have a meeting, if I have a flight at 2, 3 in the afternoon, I am useless until that meeting happens because I'm so worried I'm going to miss it. I will keep checking. So time blindness is what it's called. Yeah, you're very aware of this one.
Yeah.
So if we stack the meetings in the morning, we can be creative in the afternoon, knowing we don't have any meetings coming up.
This is so interesting to me. Okay, so first of all, for those of you who don't know, time blindness means, and I want you to jump in here as I go, that some brains do not perceive the sweep of time as it's happening. So people can tend to disappear into a task and resurface 2 hours later feeling like it's been 5 minutes. Do I have that right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. But this is interesting. The other thing that you're saying here is that if you've got something that you're looking forward to, because of this time blindness, you don't have a sense, and this comes up with kids too, so I'm going to double back in a second, with littles. You don't have a sense for how long that's going to take, and you worry that you might miss it because you don't know how long it's going to take. And so you have to keep focusing on that future event until it arrives. Is that what happens?
Yes.
Okay. When you have a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old who already is having time issues because of their age, right? Because they don't understand time either. This is true for parents who have this preschool age set. When they're really fixated on an event in the future, they have to latch onto it because they don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
And then everything that comes before. This is why, by the way, I have always had birthday parties for my kids at 10:30 in the morning. Never in the afternoon, ever.
Oh, that's so smart.
Right?
Oh, I love that.
It's like the equivalent of a business meeting. Right?
It is. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, okay, so you take this is interesting to me though. So you take an early morning flight and schedule your meetings in the morning, and then you can do whatever you want. So you just like stack everything.
Yes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
And then release.
Yes. And one of the great things also about ADHD that I love, I'm useless if I'm not 80% stressed. So I have to be 80% maxed out. Otherwise, my procrastination sits in. So also by stacking my morning, I just keep the momentum going and the dopamine is flowing and it's just beautiful. But if I've got those weird breaks in between, I can't stack that momentum.
That happens to me too. I don't have ADHD, but it's interesting because I do think some of this parallels with and makes sense that we're talking about a spectrum of traits, right? More or less tuned into the sweep of time, more or less tuned into the anxiety of an impending event and how you handle that. Like there are things, more or less plugged into or having feelings about social interactions. I forgot, I lost my train of thought completely, but like it happens to us too. But it's like wow. Okay.
Am I infecting you with my ADHD through the camera?
Oh my God, it's contagious. No, but I know what I was saying. Thank you, God. The up and down of the arousal levels.
Yeah.
It is really also hard for me to have like a meeting in the morning. I'm realizing this as I'm talking to you, like a big meeting in the morning, a break, another meeting in the afternoon, a break. And right now my schedule is set up like that, and I don't really like it.
Right. What do you do in between the meetings? Like you could have a snack, but you can't. Yes, you have to, because you can't get started on something else. Like,
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, so good. This is really, Michelle, I love it. What else? What else you got?
I would love to share some phrases. We have
Mhm.
two in my household that
Mhm.
are fun and friendly reminders.
Mhm.
Well, actually, there's three. Oh my gosh, there's three. The first one, I don't remember who I learned it from. It's don't put it down, put it away.
Oh,
Anytime we're holding anything in our hands, we all have that mantra, don't put it down, put it away. Don't put it down, put it away.
oh my God, I love this so much. Keep going.
So good. The other
Good.
one is, if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening.
Yes.
So
I
kids,
approve this message.
yes. Oh my gosh. So with teenagers, they're going off to their various activities. So I have trained them over the past year and a half to invite me and their father to the calendar. If it is not on our calendar, we are not driving them. It is not happening. It took one time of us not
Yes.
doing the thing, and they learned. They're like, okay, it's on the calendar.
Okay, we're going to stop here for a second because I can hear the people being like, but my kid's going to miss out on social opportunities, and that feels really bad. And by the way, other people don't make plans in advance. Now, here's where this gets interesting, because it's true. Like teenagers have horrible executive function in general. And then if they have ADHD, then we're actually talking about a clinical thing. And my guess is, you tell me, are your kids the ones who now organize their friends?
They are working on it. They're getting really close. Yes, they are the ones who are initiating and setting up their play dates. Oh, yes, maybe I am training little leaders.
Right?
Ooh.
I mean, and it is that self-acceptance in order to know what it is that your default is, recognize it, accept it about yourself, and then do something different on top of it.
Yeah.
And set it up in a way that feels really juicy and good.
Right.
I love that though. If it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. We have the same thing in our house. Like we have a family calendar. It's like, if you need something, I got to be able to see it.
100%. Yo, yes. That is a trickier one. And I feel for the parents who don't want their kids to miss out. We went through that too. We still do. But I'm telling you, it only took one or two times of them missing out. And there's other opportunities. They're young. It's not going to damage them forever.
Yeah.
And now they have this cool life skill.
Yeah. Now talk to me about like scaffolding a little bit, because sometimes we want our kids to do something and they lack the skill.
Yes.
Right. So how does that play into your house?
Ooh, that's a really hard one because both parents are also ADHD. So for me to teach a child something takes all of my energy. I mean, all of it. So I try to do one thing at a time. I will pick one thing a week to teach them, and I have to do baby steps, like scaffolding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
But how, so, but I think what I'm asking you is that a challenge for you? Number one. And if so, how, it seems like the answer is yes. And therefore I only do one thing at a time.
oh yes.
Okay. But then talk about breaking things down into baby steps.
My husband gets really annoyed at this one because he will rattle off, kid, I need you to do these 5 things. And I have to say, nope, we're going to stop, do the one thing, and then come back to me when you're done. Do the next thing, come back to me when you're done. It's infuriating as the parent because now I have to hold all 5 things in my head and keep working with the kids. So it takes 10 times longer. So the frustration will build. I am not going to lie, working full time plus being a mom and business owner and add all the things. I'm also going back to school. We do have a nanny that comes she spends maybe 2 Saturdays with our daughter. I will actually put a lot of those things on her plate.
Nice.
So, I mean, when they were little, it was things like tying your shoe. I did not want to sit there for an hour practicing tying the shoe. Nanny, babysitter.
I love this. This is what we talk about in business camp. delegate.
Yes. So, and I felt really bad at first. Like, am I really delegating teaching my kid to tie their shoe? But yes, because I would rather spend my energy on making those really fun memories and moments where I'm the best mom I can be, rather than sitting there frustrated tying a shoe 50 times.
That's so interesting. So my daughter's 16 now. She's learning how to drive.
Ooh.
And I knew that I was not going to be the person to teach her how to drive. I knew that I was going to be freaking out. I'm not a great passenger to begin with, even with my husband, who's been driving as long as I have. And so we all had a conversation. And I was like, it's not me. It's got to be your dad.
Yep.
And that has borne out. And now as she's improving, now I am infrequently driving in the, having her drive me around. But it can be hard. And we each have to go in, being like, okay, mom's in the passenger seat. Like, this means things are going to be amped up. But what's interesting and funny about that is we had a moment where I was like, you're ready for this level of stress, right? Like, this is an added layer of complexity here where you not only do you have to drive, but you have to drive your stressed out mom around. But it is, right? Like, just little increases in the difficulty level.
Yeah. When my son is getting his driver's license now as well. So he's 16 and a half.
Okay.
And I went through the same thing you did. I was like, I don't think I can sit in a car and I can't do this. So when I chose a driver's ed school, I picked one where I could add on additional one-on-one driving practice.
Yeah.
Even if it was for a fee, I didn't care. It's like, I need to get that off, or at least have an out.
Yep.
So yeah, that we could move forward.
And, some people are going to listen to that and be like, oh, you shouldn't have to. And that is what it is. And anytime we're using the word should, it's a wastebasket. And so we can just get rid of that. At the same time, wouldn't you rather preserve your relationship with your child, particularly if you know that this is going to be something that is going to be very, very difficult, and you have the means and the wherewithal to provide an alternative?
Yes, like, it's a choice. Your energy is a choice where you put it. We're just being, very pragmatic about where we spend our energy.
Oh my God. Okay, give me one more tip.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I have so many. The other phrase that I got my kids saying is, the floor is not a shelf.
I love it. Okay, wait, go back, because we got diverted. This is what happens on these interviews. Don't put it down, put it away.
Yes.
The floor is not a shelf.
And if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening.
Oh, and if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. Okay.
Yep.
Those are like good mantras.
Yeah. Backpacks, homework, they all end up on the floor. So I have to remind everybody, the floor is not a shelf.
The floor is not a shelf. And you've created spaces where those things go.
Thank you to open shelving, where they do not have to open up any cabinets. The item goes right on the shelf.
You know what? Seriously, Michelle. The closet door thing just still has me like going. Like, I just want all of you all who are listening to go get your hammer or your screwdriver and take the closet doors off of your kids' rooms, possibly yours.
Yeah, we had the horrible sliding doors. So half the closet is always
folding ones or whatever.
Oh, those are bad too. They don't let you see everything.
Oh my God. Okay, give me some more. Give me some more.
Oh, you want some more?
Yeah, give me some more.
We are on multi-level house, vacuum on each floor. Sweet. Too difficult to move it. Let's see. Clear containers for food. If you have like Tupperware containers, do not get anything that is even remotely opaque. It has to be really, really glass clear.
Love.
Or it'll go bad. One thing we did for our junk room in our house, like workout room space, we did hire a professional organizer who specializes in ADHD to just help us figure out where, all the medical supplies go and all the shampoos. And that was really helpful.
Okay. So you got help with that too. And so this is the other thing. There are people who specialize in helping, right? This is like an external organization system for your brain, right?
Yes.
You're outsourcing your frontal lobe a little bit.
Yeah, because it's hard to do. Executive functioning is very difficult. So by paying someone to come to the house for 3 hours, boy, did my husband and I hustle to make the most of that 3 hours. We never would have done it. We had to pay somebody, and it had to hurt a little bit financially to get it done. Same with accountability buddies. They, body doubling, whatever you want to call it. It works.
Yeah. There's a service. I don't know if you've ever used it online. I can't remember what it's called now. You sign
Focus
in.
Me.
Yeah, Focus Me, or it's a different one, but you sign up for a time and then you get somebody who also wants to do an hour's worth of work during that time. I thought was genius.
Yeah, I love those. I do 2 accountability sessions a week
Mhm.
as an adult. Mondays, I go through active file system. I go through all of my mail, digital and tangible. What needs to be scanned, what needs to be filed, what needs to be something done with it. It has taken so much time out of my week, like to get that done on Mondays. So I just file it away quickly and I don't have to think about it until Mondays, and I meet with an accountability group. And that's specifically what we do.
This is amazing. The level of non-resistance that you demonstrate for your entire family. No, really. So much procrastination, so much disorganization, so much feeling like, I don't have my shit together. It doesn't actually come from the ADHD. It comes from the resistance to the ADHD.
Yeah.
Or to the whatever the issue is that you happen to be dealing with. And I'm coming back to it again. 100% self-acceptance of like, I suck at this. My brain doesn't like this at all. I need some help. Right?
I say that out loud too. It's like, wow, I'm really bad at this particular thing. How can I make it fun? How can I do something to make it tolerable? Or how do I delegate it?
Yes. Okay. Oh my God. I know that you have helped so many people. We're going to leave it there. But this has been, we're going to have you back. We're going to definitely have you back, because this was really, I just think it was really, really important and awesome. And thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
If people want to get a hold of you for dog photography or marketing, how do they do that?
Go to www.pupshoot.com.
Okay.
That's one easy to remember.
Perfect. Okay. And can they find your marketing stuff there too?
Oh yeah, they can just email me from there. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Pupshoot.com. We'll link to it in the show notes.
Thank you.
All right, Michelle, take care.
Thanks. Bye.